Welcome back, everyone, to the MAEC stream co-founded by Events DC and Game Gym. I am Cherish, and joined with me for this League of Legends production this fine Saturday is my friend Jack Kelly. So, Jack, before we dive into things, how are you doing today?
I'm doing excellent today. I'm so excited for this opportunity to cast for you guys, and just really looking forward to our games. It's gonna be fun, best of three.
Yeah, we've got American and Radford coming on up. Both these teams are tied for third at 2-1 here in the League of Legends division. So it's going to be looking like a really nice, pretty even matchup that I'm looking forward to.
Yep. I think this week, this deep into the season, week 5, these teams have a lot of practice already under their belts. They've had a lot of time to go up against each other. I'm not sure if they've already played against each other once or not, but it's getting deep into the season. Playoffs are right around the corner, so like I said, every win counts now. Both teams tied in the standings, so looking to get an edge up.
Yep, everything does count. So before we head further into our League of Legends conversation, though, jumping back to Thursday with some Valorant standings we got going here. I believe the did see was Radford beating Mount St. Mary's after a very tight first map on Haven, very decidedly. Radford won out 13-3, 13-1. So they will knock Mount St. Mary's down to tie for second at 4-1 with ODU, who won to bring themselves on up, leaving George Mason as a lone 5-0 team going forward into the week. And everything's shaping up to be pretty competitive over there as well. The top 4 teams are all, or top 5, excuse me, are all very close in standings, and it's looking very, very tight over there. But back again on League of Legends here. Same deal. It's a tight game between Radford and American. I think we've seen a little bit of American in the past. I do recognize some of these names, both sides actually. So we are getting some past faces on stream, which is always nice to see. And looking forward to the draft already. Bans are flying on in.
Absolutely. This is one of those, like I said, you've already gotten a couple of games under your belt. The meta has developed, and it looks like some targeting is coming out for Idiot Maker in the top lane for American. He is the highest ranked player in this lobby, so the Darius going away, the Fiora going away makes sense. Don't want him to get anything, too aggressive in lane.
Yeah, definitely don't want anything getting brought up with that. Darius is not at all in a bad spot nowadays, nor is Fiora. They're both pretty hotly contested alongside Aatrox, who did slip through this ban phase. I'm not sure if either team will be going for that here, but no, it's a Renata Glask blind priority pick here for Radford's support, Enigmatic Reverie, who is actually, I think, outside of the Nami, which was banned, is like their kind of their fallback option.
Yeah, and it provides a lot, even some counter into the Aatrox, which we see come through. Renata thrives playing into these melee champs that she can easily hit that hostile takeover on, and Graves, again, falls right into that category. So building a strong comp, American University is, but this Renata Glass pick is going to provide, some resistance for them. The Graves most likely going to look to just scale up, farm as many full clears as he possibly can, while Aatrox just dumpsters whatever matchup he gets. And I want to see if blue team is going to take that top matchup on one of these student picks.
Yeah, given that Aatrox's strength, it's very nice to see that Idiot Maker gets that pick for themselves. Caitlyn comes in to try up a kind of lane kingdom lane. You see it usually with okay. I got thrown off by Cassante because I didn't think he was pickable. And I'm even more thrown off because Alawi is picked. And I think I'm going to drop the Caitlyn point for that.
Yeah, I mean, Alawi has been long well known for her ability to kind of really be dangerous in these lanes. If she lands that E, so much damage is going to come through. But without her E landing, she's really not much of a champion at all. You can easily beat her in any skirmish, and if you just fight away from her tentacles, then what is there that she can do against Aatrox? So if he pushes her in under her turret over and over again, we're going to see this Alawi fall very far behind.
Hmm. And I think another point too is, some of the picks that we've seen into Aatrox in the past. Fiora is banned, but Fiora, Jax, Irelia. It's a lot of very sticky champions that can get on top of Aatrox and really limit his damage. And Alawi likes to kind of stay back in the ranges that Aatrox likes. So it's definitely going to be a fun skill matchup here between Unique and Idiot Maker going forward. But otherwise, Americans building, again, very safe comp, very aware comp that they just want to get towards this mid game with the Graves, Aatrox, Aphelios, Karma providing a lot of support for that Aphelios, and just trying to really just scale into mid and late and win out from there.
Yeah, you're going to want to see, blue team come up with something pretty aggressive here on these last two picks, and Sejuani does fulfill that. I'm sure they're a bit frustrated. They've spent 3 bans on support, and it looks like American University still got their hands on a pretty reliable shielding support in the Karma. So they need something in the mid lane to really tie this together, something that they can get on Aphelios and really tie him down. But instead, they're going to offer the scaling, try and get some more scaling of their own long range. And if that gets locked in, that is the recently buffed Corki. Some extra health and some extra AD scaling.
Yeah, the 2 ways you mentioned, one of the ways to deal with Aphelios is really just get on him and lock him down with his lack of movement. And the other really is just stay outside of his ranges. It's kind of awkward to fight with Green Gun because it doesn't really match up that well with your other guns. The same way that Red White is the notorious pairing. So the other way to just fight him is that long range, and Caitlyn Corki really does that well in these later fights because it's the trap line plus rocket spam, really going to keep everyone at bay, hopefully from American. But Twisted Fate is interesting as well because he's kind of fallen off in recent months. His priority is completely gone, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, he is really one of those picks that is so strong when it comes to affecting side lanes. He can shove a wave quickly once he gets his Everfrost, and all of a sudden he's top lane, he's bottom lane, he's at every fight, and that point and click stun is so valuable. But at the same time, you're pretty much giving Corki, pun intended, you're handshaking this lane with Corki, saying, "I'm going to let you scale. I'm going to let you free farm in lane while I go off and affect top and bot and join jungle fights." So it is going to be interesting to see how this Corki uses the advantage they've gained in the draft. But from top to bottom overall, I really do like American University's draft. They have that scaling with the Aphelios, with the Graves, but they also have some early game skirmish with the Aatrox and the Twisted Fate joining. So it should be a very exciting game.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do favor American here a bit more. They balanced out. They started with a very aggressive 1-2. The way a lot of these champions are seen by some analysts is you're either like super versatile, like Gragas, where he can either be engage or disengage or disruption, that type of thing. Aatrox is really just go in, and Graves is mostly just go in and deal with that. But matching that with Aphelios Karma gives you not too much dive. It gives you a good kind of anchor point, and Twisted Fate really hones in on that. So I like the way that they balanced out their comp here. Really well done from American, and with those last 3 picks though, it just makes it that much harder to me for this Alawi to really shine in this draft. And it's going to come up to Unique playing frankly kind of fantastically here to make this pick shine through in this draft.
Yeah, and when you look at kind of who has agency in this early game, Sejuani is going to be a menace with those, with going top lane, Alawi with those auto attack resets is going to stack her passive very quickly. Very good gank potential. I think even I would go as far as saying if Alawi hits one of her E's, it's a winning 2v2 in the top lane.
Hmm.
But in mid lane, Corki's going to pack a punch. Bot lane, I think I give the edge to Radford, at least early game, pushing out. I think if Renata can hit some handshakes onto those Caitlyn traps, it's going to cause a lot of problems for Karma and Aphelios. Aphelios should never be in range using Calibrum. He should never be in range to actually contest with this Caitlyn, but you never know.
Yeah, until you run out of that Calibrum, that green gun, you're at least able to duel with Caitlyn a little bit. You're not entirely out of her range. It's just once you lose that gun, you're a good bit lower range, and Caitlyn kind of has a lot more priority. Granted, when you lose that gun, you gain it back in lane push potential, but that has its own host of problems. So I definitely think, I mean, everything you've hit on is just how this is going to go in theory to me. Mid lane should be pretty much both sides shove and roam, figure out whatever they want to do. Corki just wants to sit and scale. Caitlyn and Renata really just want to pressure Aphelios Karma away as much as possible, try and work some of these plates in their favor as much as possible. And I think top lane is going to end up being that priority because, granted, while it's a little bit harder for Alawi, I still feel like both these champions very easily can run away with this game if they're left unchecked, and really not taken down a couple pegs. So it will be tough going here, but we'll be headed to a quick break as we load into the game. Our draft has been analyzed a good amount. We'll just get to see how it plays out in just a few minutes. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for waiting as we are jumping on in to the game. We've got a bit of a 5-point as usual for the red team, but for blue side, they're stacking in top side here. This little river bush getting ready to try and figure something out. But the problem is these Alawi tentacles will give everyone away.
Yeah,
Idiot Maker finding this out, and nothing comes of it.
I see there must have been some scouting done from Radford. I mean, we were looking at it in Champ Select, 0 mastery points on this Alawi, but they intentionally left up the Aatrox, so maybe this is a purposeful counter pick that has been scouted. That early start, knowing Aatrox is going to start in that river bush, it looks like a lot of scouting has gone in.
Hmm.
Interesting buys from Leon, the longsword coming out, not going to have that health for lane that Doran's blade gives, but will have that extra component item going towards Gale Force wants to hit his spike a bit earlier.
Yeah, definitely. Refill is interesting though. Usually you see that bought a little bit later,
Uh,
as Unique is just getting the beat down from the Aatrox starting Q. You can't really fight back all that much. This is just all of a sudden is now all in favor of Idiot Maker. Speaking of interesting buys too, Enigmatic Reverie went for a pink ward and no pots, which is a little interesting. And Moonwolf is airy on Twisted Fate. Usually we'll see what is it? Spellbook or Electrocute
yeah,
sometimes, but very
anything
interesting to see
to
that one.
anything to amplify his damage. I guess areas is at the bottom of a long list of optimal runes. But another interesting thing is the tier stuff for Corki. He knows there's absolutely nothing that's going to go on in this mid lane, so I
Yeah.
might as well get that tier, start stacking it up. I don't really need D-Blade or anything else. I just need to start stacking and get towards this mid game. As everywhere but top, we're seeing very little actions. Car actually wants to try and hit that mantra Q.
Yeah, this kind of just looks like how bot lane's going to play out, right? It's going to be Burb versus Enigmatic Reverie trying to match spells. This Idiot Maker is found Unique, doesn't have the chain just yet, only level 2. That's so much damage dealt back to this Alawi. Both top laners have like no farm. They're just denying each other as Idiot Maker loses the cannon to beat down some tentacles. So Idiot Maker's priority over these first three waves has been denying tentacles, denying pressure that Unique
Kill.
can garner, as a
And go for
tower shot does kind of even that trade out, frankly.
it. Yeah, I mean, uh, I obviously don't want to be hypercritical, but Unique doing a great job. Well, I'll put it this way: Unique is doing an excellent job dodging these sweet spots, making sure that that full damage doesn't come out, because otherwise he'd be dead right now. And he has to stay for this
Well,
wave, but the flash.
actually, he is just dead off that sweet spot. I think Idiot Maker actually lives. Lukey on the way, though. No! Oh, this is huge! He ran out of the way of the tentacle! He ran out of the path of the shadow, the pull, whatever it's called. And because he ran out of range before it decayed, it pulls your shadow to you, triggers the tentacle to pull back, spawning one on top of Idiot Maker, and actually getting a big trade kill for Unique in what was a really costly first death.
That is huge. The XP that goes over the gold, that pretty much evens them out. Not an XP, he is a level up. But I mean, gold wise, he's only about 150 down. And
Hmm.
I mean, that's huge. He was going to be in such a hole right there. But I mean, the soul breaks, and now Unique is being able to get some of these ease off and doing
Oh,
tons of damage with the turret.
yeah, pulling it into the tower is really rough. Idiot Maker losing almost half his HP, roughly just over a third, just to the soul. Like that was it. Stun card and smokescreen forced the flash out of Icy, but Lukey was waiting in the wings, so nothing can be found further. Argoat, I notice as well, has Ghost on Graves. Really, kind of a smart pick here to catch up with this longer range comp from Radford. But now I think we're really seeing the issues that Alawi into Aatrox can present now that they're in a much more even lane state at this point. And Unique's trying to get something down, but the sweet spots land from Idiot Maker, and that's a clean first kill finally. Leon in the bot lane as well, taking a heaping helping of trade back from very, very ill. But all told, I mean, winning across the lanes for American at this point.
I think Idiot Maker realized, this is just aggravating. It's not actually lethal. It's just aggravating. Unique kind of found himself, got a little ahead of himself. Starts thinking, wow, I'm actually doing some damage in these trades. I'm actually able to put out some power, but you still get hit by one of those sweet spots, and this Aatrox gonna just blow you up. Really good forward motion by Ironic Burb as Aphelios gets low and he really moves up to pressure them off of this wave. Try not to let them just keep crashing it under turret over and over and over again. Lost Chapter picked up for Twisted Fate on first back. He opts not to teleport. He is going to lose about a full wave for that decision, but not the worst in the world. You do see the Caulfield's Warhammer as I think Corki is just going to rush this Manamune, try and stack it up as quickly as possible. 2 level advantage, wow.
Wow. Yeah. Now, what used to be kind of an even lane has gone far in the way of Idiot Maker at this point. Even though they're even in CS, Idiot Maker has, like you said, the 2 level lead. Got this freeze going as well. This lane is shoving back into the Aatrox. And even though the cull is not going to be stacked, this is just a massive XP and gold advantage that Idiot Maker will be generating. Granted, Unique's going to get some trade back here and there with whatever souls he can pull. Uh, but otherwise, I mean, this is just all in favor of the Aatrox, exactly what American wants. And Lukey gets pushed off a crab because of the pressure further in bot lane, and
Yeah,
just it's winning across the map.
Yeah, this should be a free dragon for American University. They don't have items on their bot lane. They haven't been able to get back to base yet. So if they take this fight right now, they are at a severe disadvantage. If I'm American University, I'm trying to rush this dragon as soon as possible. Graves is prioritizing clearing his bot jungle first. Now it looks like he's going to make the move towards
Ooh.
that dragon. World Ender popped.
Yeah, World Ender is popped. The soul is grabbed by Unique. Idiot Maker missed that first Q, but now is under pressure from Unique, though not 6. Still 2 levels down. Unique is not able to pressure any kills further onto Idiot Maker. No damage further, and there's so much healing for this Aatrox who keeps pushing forward onto Unique, unable to just commit to any trade back on the Aatrox. This Alawi is struggling up in the top lane at this point, hoping to get something back with Lukey waiting in the wings. Enigmatic Reverie is chunked a good bit. Having no potions is really showing in this lane right now.
And they just keep getting shoved under turret over and over again, not being able to find an opportunity to back. At this point, you need to start saying, when can I sack a wave? I need to get back to base. Kalen's probably sitting on at least 1,700 gold right now,
Yeah.
to over
Wow.
2,000 gold actually. But she has to stay. I mean, very,
Mhm.
very ill knows if he leaves this lane, especially on a can't flash forward.
Oh, flash away. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
as we're talking about it down bot, flash forward, flash away. Pretty easy engagement. Top Argoat does have Idiot Maker in the wings, whereas Unique can't really help Lukey as much around this Rift Herald, but
trying to cover
still,
the dive.
now Argoat coming in for the top gank. Oh my god, collateral damage over the wall is enough. And that
I mean,
will finish off Unique for an
that
easy
is
kill.
huge for this Graves, just getting gifted 300 gold. I mean, 1,400 gold in his inventory. He can just go back whenever he wants and pick up, the Umbral Glaive. As Lukey could aggressively trade more, but decides to just let the World Ender run out. I love the call by Idiot Maker. I don't love that he's not going for CS at all, but the idea of the call by knowing there's a 0% chance I lose this lane, I can just sit here and farm whenever I want and just get that extra 180 gold that Cull will reward you once completed. So, Umbral Glaive
Yeah.
is completed by Graves as Sejuani is trying to make her way towards whichever tank item she goes.
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, always we can always see the shove coming into Idiot Maker and them able to just continuously pressure forward, push these lanes forward and just or rather, excuse me, push Unique back to their tower control as much as they can. But the hostile takeover will only find a handful of minions. Luki with the Arctic Assault finds nothing. The E stun lands on top of the Glacial Prison, but now very, very ill. Gonna get stunned up from the flash yellow card. The package is in, and the package is found for nothing. It's a 1-for-0. Very, very ill. Finally gets to go back and buy, but it's just taken so long at this point. Rift Herald actually gets shoved back by Handshake, which I've just found out works at this point. Thanks to 4 people being around this Rift Herald as well. This tower is incredibly tanky for these plates. But that'll be first tower and a 4,500 gold lead in the pocket of American. Granted, Idiot Maker could be handing a little bit of gold back to Unique very soon here with how low he is.
I mean, just a very well done play, recognizing we have the gold lead down here. Luki comes down knowing that he has to relieve some of this pressure so that very, very ill can back and buy, but he's not there soon enough. The Twisted Fate roams down and just too much damage. Great Moonlight Vigil comes out by Leon to get all of those chakrams and really turn that fight around. If I'm American University right now, I am getting my bottom lane and I'm parking them mid. I'm trying to take down that turret as fast as possible because once that mid turret goes down, this game is broken wide open. Twisted Fate, you'll never know where he is again. They can just push down every tower, continue to let these top laners go at it as bounties are starting to roll through. We needed to see more from this Sejuani. Luki needed to be in top lane, affecting the lane, because where are you going to go with the Corki? He just wants to scale. Bot lane, you needed to be there sooner for the push out. I mean, it's really starting to get dangerous as the scaling from American University is coming online.
Yeah, and, going back to that dive, it was Doran's Blade against the Noon Quiver, and while Noon Quiver isn't a massive spike, it's that much more AD and attack speed that Caitlyn doesn't have. And now because of that tower gold that Leon was given alongside their teammates, probably, I don't know, 160 off of plates, given that it was shared from 4, plus the extra 200 on tower, that does amount to almost 1,000 gold in the lead here. And it does amount to Leon having the Mythic over the Caitlyn. So,
yeah, Kraken Slayer
leads all over.
Huge fight going on here.
Yeah, the ult is popped from Unique, and that's a lot of healing.
Oh my god!
Oh my god, that's so much healing that Idiot Maker was not expecting. Double hit from Tentacles twice. Now Moonwolf is down in the bot lane. Luki starting to get active as Argot, Leon, and Burb take that dragon for the second Drake of the game for American. But still, signs of life are being shown here. The gold lead has been cut down to just over 3K from that near 5K that it was just a few seconds ago.
Unique says, screw your lead, anything you can do, I can do better. The healing comes through on those tentacle hits. I mean, that was insane, the damage. I mean, once Aatrox's Q goes on cooldown, it is still earlier in the game. He probably just has it maxed. If you miss those sweet spots and don't make the most of them, you are going to start running out of damage. And when those tentacles just keep slamming down, you can't compete with that much DPS from Alawi of all people. But now you're looking at it, it's much closer and under turret.
Oh my god.
Flash has to come through.
Yeah, Unique is still able to heal through a lot there as Moonwolf is TP'd down bot. Been found again in the meantime. Idiot Maker cleaned up Unique finally on that solo kill. Flash was burnt by both top laners up there, but Hullbreaker finished for Unique, which kind of fits, honestly, in this comp. He's not going to do a lot of team fighting on this Alawi, and in fact, just trying to keep the Aatrox away from their team, forcing either the Aatrox or this Twisted Fate to always match the Alawi is quite a big draw.
Yeah, wanting to talk about a couple of the item buys that have come in. I think Hullbreaker, it's a cheaper item. It makes sense. He just needs those raw stats against this Aatrox to survive. The Bramble Vest coming through as well, knowing I need to cut this healing by as much as I can. But on the other side, Everfrost completed for Twisted Fate. getting caught out a couple times has set this Corki ahead quite a bit, going for that Luden's Tempest now. But I do want to talk about this Aphelios Kraken Slayer for a second here. Opting away from the Gale Forces, which is what we typically see.
Mhm.
Hasn't been able to attack any champions yet with it, but that is going to give some more raw damages. This is definitely going to result in a kill.
Yeah, this should be unique going down. He does smack down with the ult, but Argoat is there for that boosted pit of damage. Can't cut through all of that with your healing from the tentacles. That is unique down again. Enigmatic Reverie pops the takeover for nothing.
That's what we
And
call a zoning ultimate.
yeah, definitely did. Granted, it did zone off Moonwolf and forced away the Twisted Fate, which now enables Lukey to get into a spot here with Idiot Maker cleaning up the tower in the top lane in the meantime.
In the meanwhile, Argoat is just picking up the second Rift Herald that's going to give 200 gold to his entire team, and however many turrets they get off of it. I mean, this is really big, but we might see a fight off of that. Package has been collected. They need to get out of here because I don't know if they win this fight against Corki. Argoat gets half health.
Yeah, Icy has chunked out Argoat as well as Iconic Burb. Very, very ill. Puts one in the hole for Iconic Burb. That came out weird, but still, that is the karma going down 1-0. And that enables another push here for Radford, trying to get aggressive. A nice handshake, though, does not matter from Enigmatic Reverie. The supports are both down with Moonwolf cleaning up another one for American.
Yeah, just stepping a little bit too far forward on both sides. But I do want to actually comment on Argoat's performance so far this game. I mean, he's getting these full clears down. Sejuani, because of the lack of, ganking and impact on the lanes, has been able to pick up a lot of farm for herself. Luki is trying to match that, but this Graves has been full clearing nonstop, has been putting himself in a position to pick up some of these kills, 3-0 with the 350 gold bounty, and the Umbral Glaive completed, as we do have a pause.
Yeah. Lukey is Lukey has disconnected on accident, but we'll get to see what comes in on that later. I think it's interesting too. Granted, they did nerf a good bit of the stats on Eclipse, so not as many people have been building it, but Idiot Maker did go Gore Drinker here on Aatrox, which makes him a little bit tankier. And he's also got another Phage in the inventory, which I'm intrigued here as to what that could be building towards.
Gonna be one of two items. Either he's gonna match the Hullbreaker, or he's gonna go for the Sterix Gauge and say, I don't want to get blown up again. I don't want you just all of a sudden dealing my entire health bar with 40 tentacles. Just give me that shield. I personally am in the Sterix Gauge boat. I think it's a little bit better of an item for the rest of the game. Once these top laners eventually are gonna have to leave top lane, and Hullbreaker diminishes, whereas Sterix kind of gets more and more value throughout the game. But
I think Sterix is also just one of those items lately that has always been like, oh, it got nerfed once, it can't possibly be good again. Has a little freezy action on our end.
Typically, you see a bit of a pause. Once the pause happens in spectators, a lot of times what'll happen is it'll just pause again.
Yeah.
So this is more a spectator bug.
Very cool. Thank you, Riot. It's a
Yep.
spectator feature, I think, at that point.
Oh, good. I'm sure that's what they would call it. Sure, that's what they would call it.
Did you see? Side note before this fight gets going, there was patch notes the other night where they were like, "Yeah, Orin's ult said that it was scaling from 40 to 60 per rank on the slow, but it actually always was just flat 60. So now we're just gonna give him it and say it's always been flat 60 slow."
Well, they actually said that for some time it has been doing 60, which means forever.
Yeah,
which means always.
It's so funny that they actively in the patch notes were just like, it's not a bug, it's a feature now. It's okay.
We're
getting this dragon fight set up, and in the top lane, Idiot Maker is still giving it to Unique, which is pretty big. The call also popped. Enigmatic Reverie taking a little bit of poke, but at this point, I do still think American is just that much further ahead. It's enough that they can really hard force this Drake on their own.
Absolutely. Enigmatic Reverie is a magnet for these Aphelios queues. Just getting hit by every single one. Twisted Fate Ultimate is
Ooh.
coming down. They want to be able to make sure this isn't a steal, as they are getting kind of pincered. Ultimate comes
Yeah,
up, right,
the
that's a kill.
find onto Burb is going to go down thanks to the headshot. Now, Idiot Maker has found the backline, but Icy as well on a TP flank. Leon goes down. This fight is going horribly for American. Double kill for the Caitlyn. Double kill for the Corki. Make that 3. The Corki with the TP off the Tempest buy goes massive in the backline, creating havoc in for Moonwolf and Leon. And that's a clean ace, 5 for 0.
I mean, incredible communication. The 4v5 is still won. And I mean, like you said, Corki pulling off that flank, Sejuani not hesitating for a second, Luki going in, finding Ironic Burb with that ultimate. I mean, Radford just executed perfectly to stop that dragon stacking and really level the playing field. As we see, gold is completely even after that fight.
Any gold lead that American had has been nullified by Radford. And going back to that point you were making in Champ Select between this Corki Twisted Fate matchup, it just went exactly as you said at that point, right? You said they're going to handshake the mid lane up until the point that the Corki just outscales the Twisted Fate, starts doing more. With the Fire Cannon Everfrost build, this Twisted Fate is just really a lockdown bot for whoever he can find with a gold card from range. But Icy is just doing that much more damage than Moonwolf ever could at this point. And just with that, I mean, Burb is just shredded between the Gatling gun and 3 rockets at that point. It's massive lead for Icy in this mid lane here.
I mean, this is what Corki players dream of having. The Luden's Tempest completed, Mana Mune has evolved. You're going on to your Ravenous Hydra. These big ones and just regular rockets will chunk anyone Icy finds. And like it is like I said in Champ Select, but we are seeing, some I hate to use the word wrong because I feel like League of Legends is so complex. There are optimal, suboptimal, but as was that Destiny Gate coming out to clear a ward in the Dragon or Baron Pit?
Yeah.
All right, well that was wrong. I'll say it for
Interesting.
that.
Yeah, there is. I agree. There is optimal. There is suboptimal. That was just
wrong.
okay.
That'll be up in maybe a minute and a half. But the Kraken Slayer on Aphelios, I want to come back to it. Leon in that last team fight, to get away from the Corki flank, had to use Flash just to reposition himself. And if Gale Force was available, that would have been the cooldown used. You would have saved yourself a lot of time. And I don't think you would have had to sacrifice much damage, as Aphelios is known more so as a champion that wants to get his damage down rather than get, as many auto attacks as possible out. As we do see, Hullbreaker was the choice for Aatrox, wanting to match. And still, so many components in Unique's inventory, not able to pick up a single completed item other than that Hullbreaker and those plays. Steelcast's package comes out.
Burb is locked in the cage and gone. Leon as well, taking chunk after chunk. Thank you for looking at the wet noodle fight going down in bot lane instead of Leon eating rockets, but it's actually a bit more than that down here. Unique taking hit after hit from these sweet spots, and the E cleans up the cannon minion instead, forcing the ult out from Unique. Tentacles are slamming in their own volition. Now Unique trying to get something down, but the presence of Moonwolf is just enough damage to push this in favor of Idiot Maker and Radford, or American, excuse me, but that gives Radford a Baron and their first gold lead of this game.
Incredible stalling by Unique, able to dodge so many of those sweet spots in the alcove, and finally Idiot Maker is able to hit them once Moonwolf appears, but it's too late. The Baron's been taken. Like you said, the gold lead has been secured. Actually, it has switched over with that in tier 2 turret being taken, but how is Aphelios going to get any gold and clear into these baroned up minions as Destiny Gate will come out? Looking for very, very ill, but won't find him under turret. As the game kind of resets now, as even though Baron has been picked up for Radford, they don't have many pushing waves, so electing to do a little bit of an ARAM here to try and secure a tier 2 turret. I think that's the right call. You don't have side lane pressure because Alawi's fallen so far behind the Aatrox. You need to just ball up if you're going to get any turrets or objectives off of this Baron push.
Yep. Well, we do see just that with
takeover.
another zoning hostile takeover. Ironic Burb is going to poke Argoat for like, I don't know, 30 damage autos. Very cool.
Brandis Hydra
But
completed for Corky now.
yeah, now very, very ill is getting engaged on though. Idiot Maker is going to force the Gale Force, but in not enough range. Shut down on the third Q. Enigmatic Reverie forced away, but Icy is dominating a huge big one in the back line as Lukey is tearing everyone up. Idiot Maker has to do what he can, but it's not enough. Moonwolf on just a handful of HP, just a couple hundred hit points is all that remains of American. Icy is going massive in these team fights, unkillable with Enigmatic Reverie on the backside. And this game is blown open at this point for Radford with this inhibitor taken and the bot lane tower as well soon to come.
Incredible composure from Icy, knowing Aatrox is going to full commit for me, but I need to stand my ground and get these rockets out so that Lukey can get onto their backline and do the damage. Meanwhile, Unique, the whole fight is just split pushing and getting that tier 2. This Alawi is going to eventually get a completed item. As second Mountain Dragon is going to be picked up here, the scaling that these Mountain Dragons are going to provide, you're never going to melt this Sejuani with 2, 3, if it happens, if we get there, 4 Mountain Dragons. It'll be impossible to kill. This Alawi is going to be so hard to deal with in the side lane with Hullbreaker, plus all those buffs up from the armor and magic resist, percentage bonuses that Mountain Dragon gives. Really difficult spot for American University. They're finding themselves outscaled, and I think the answer needs to come from Argoat. He needs to start making some value out of this Graves pick, getting onto their backline and causing some havoc. Lane's just being pushed out here, trying to not give up any more tier 2 turrets or inhibitors.
I think something you mentioned, it does sound weird, right? That Icy is helping enable Lukey to do damage in the backline with this huge poke. But in that fight, that's what it came down to. You're Ninja Tabbies plus Thornmail plus Sunfire Cape Sejuani against what? Gore-Drinker Graves and just a Kraken Slayer and Bloodthirster components from Aphelios. Granted, yes, he has Kraken Slayer. Aphelios is not killing you there with the guns he had. The Graves build is not killing you there with the guns or with the build he has. Like, it's very tanky for the Alawi very easy for the Sejuani to be tanky in this backline and just continue to be a nuisance no matter what. Cool. Nice little invisible or sightless bind or wow, I'm messing my words up. Unique, in the meantime, is getting engaged on. Not going to pop the ult just yet, waiting for someone to get in range, but the shadow is pulled back from Iconic Burb. A nice ult back as Leon gets cleaned up in the backside. 4 for Unique. What the hell just happened? That is a quadra in the pocket for Unique, who's getting tanked up under the tower, looking for the Penta. Moonwolf getting hit up as much as he can, trying to get away as fast as he can, not give this Alawi the pentakill. And he got back from the yard sale. He finished his items. The Caulfields and the Divine Sunderers, enough for Unique to piece up everyone. Unique trying to find something. He's tanking the tower. It's unofficial. I'm going to give it to him. Pentakill from Unique. 5 kills of the last 5 for this Alawi, who we kept harping on was getting rocked in the laning phase, rocked in the side lanes, couldn't find any openings, and because of that pentakill, it will be the first game going to Radford.
I want to see 4 tilt proofs coming down for Unique after this game. That was an incredible turnaround. Incredible patience coming up from Unique in that last fight to hold on to that ultimate till I don't even know if it came out. I mean, just knowing it didn't need to come out. Enigmatic Reverie with the huge hostile takeover after so many of them were used for zoning purposes. And then, I mean, Icy just putting out so much damage on this Corki. It all came together so beautifully in that last fight.
Yeah. Massive. And I mean, I yelled it a little bit, but I didn't get much out. Enigmatic Reverie had a huge hostile takeover to lock down Leon with no cleanse. There's no Mikhail's Crucible either on the Karma. So no way for Leon to get out of that, able to just eat or it has to eat rather, not able to, like it's his choice. He has to eat as many Corki rockets as Icy was feeding him, and he's doing damage to Argo in the meantime with that Infernum gun. So there was a lot of damage coming out from Leon just off of the hostile takeover, and between the rockets, between Unique getting 6-7 tentacles plus all them hitting double time, that was just so much damage in that last fight, and it was a huge swing of coming out from things here going forward into this game 2 for Radford. So before we jump to break, I want to know, and I want to ask you, what are you saying for American here that they should be doing and looking at for this game and this game 2 for them to fix up and go forward?
I think the only thing that needs to change is maybe a jungler with some more agency. You know, Argo was able to get a lead for himself on the Graves, but wasn't able to translate that into any sort of mid-game skirmish wins. And maybe banning away or planning to deal with some more of this scaling instead of just handshaking, you know, we'll scale mid, we'll scale bot, you know, both of us will do that. But we got to pick some more agency, because Aatrox got his own advantage, but bot lane wasn't able to get any advantage, and you know, jungle was able to get its own advantage and not turn it into anything. So we need to see some champions with some more agency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that team very much was reliant on whatever Radford wanted to do. And what Radford wanted to do was continue to poke out with Corki. So after the break, we'll get to see if Icy gets his hands on Corki yet again and becomes just as much of a menace, or if Unique can power up off another weak laning phase. But still, we'll get to see in just a few minutes. We'll see you guys after this break. Welcome back, everyone, to League of Legends MAEC stream with myself and Jack Kelly. We've got game one over with Radford swamping through the mid and late game over American University for a very decisive first win. But we'll see if American can fight back, and already through the ban phase, we've seen that they are with the Corky ban.
Yep, don't want Icy to get his hands back on that Corky pick. But Radford, assumingly very comfortable here on this blue side, saying, we have the same bans. I'm expecting probably the same picks. I mean, they were very successful in that game. Caitlyn is one of the strongest competitive AD carries in the game right now. But nope, it was the Renata Glass that came out first. So getting Enigmatic back on something he's comfortable on, back on a priority pick they have. And I'm curious to see if we see a salty run back. We see just picking up the Aatrox Graves here, just saying, we made some fumbles in our mid lane pick. Maybe we can just run it back.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Leona's picked up here in the bottom lane. It's Leona Caitlyn that's been drafted by American, taking a priority pick away from very, very ill. Last time I remember seeing Radford on stream, it very much drafts were very similar to this. They would draft Renata for Enigmatic Reverie. Very, very ill would pick up Caitlyn, and they'd try and just, work through lane with these two champs. So losing the Caitlyn prompts Sivir to come out, interestingly, from very, very ill. Gonna combat the lane kingdom with a good amount of scaling from what was pretty much one of the two premier, not even pretty much, it was one of the two premier AD carries over the summer in really the world.
Yeah, and also the push is going to be so heavily contested in this bottom lane. Caitlyn using her range to try and push in these waves, whereas Sivir going to be using her abilities to push in those waves with the ricochet. Silas coming in as the blind pick. I mean, after seeing last game, I trust Icy on pretty much anything. So Silas is going to be, this early game bully, able to use his abilities once he gets, level 3, 4, as LeBlanc will be the answer, adding some range into this matchup, going to be very volatile in the mid lane, and this is the agency I was talking about.
Yeah, it is starting to fix a lot of problems that American had, with the Karma Aphelios, you really had to wait on Radford to do something and play back on it. With the Twisted Fate, you would look for whatever, fire cannon red cards or gold cards that you could. Other than that, there was no agency, like you keep saying, from American. So now second rotation bans are in, and we're not seeing any runbacks on the side of Radford, and no Aatrox for American. The Graves is still up, but going towards the picks here, I'm not a big fan of Blind Silas. I don't think he does a ton. Every game that I see him, it feels like he's doing nothing really. He kind of just exists, and like you said, is a big lane bully in the early game. But LeBlanc's going to help neutralize that. You don't really get a good ultimate from LeBlanc with Silas, and Olaf as well is an all right one for Silas to steal, but more so this is just putting Argo back on a high tempo jungler that can really clear quickly. And I think the game plan at this point for Radford is unique, just get solo laners that can exist on an island.
Yeah, I mean, Yorick is not a pick you see every day, but so much, again, with these annoying E abilities, Yorick being able to cast all of those ghouls and send them to do the instant upfront damage and then the little damage that the ghouls do on their own. But interesting, leaving jungle for last pick, as Hecarim is going to be selected to tie this all together. Every single one of his lanes wants some attention, and Hecarim is going to be able to get across the map to give it. I do think the comp itself doesn't work really. They don't have any sort of common goal other than just running at the enemy team.
Yeah.
You see that come out with Americans draft as well with Olaf Aurelia, but you have hard CC and lockdown coming through with the Leona pick. LeBlanc being able to, flank and find some of these angles onto Sivir and Renata. So LeBlanc is going to have a bit of a hard time getting into these fights, but the rest of them, if American gets to an objective first, I don't know how Radford overtakes it.
Yeah, it is really just the Sivir waiting game as well for Radford. Waiting for her to get online to a point that she can beat Argot's Olaf because, you know, with Ragnarok, it makes it a lot easier, though you do get less tanky. But Olaf really just loves to be in the thick of things, especially with his W from his mid scope update a couple months ago, the bonus shield that I think he gets off of missing health, plus just all the bonus healing, the way his undertow works. He just loves being in the middle of fights. And when you have Silas, who can only go forward in a fight and really wants to stay in a fight, really hard for him to move out of a fight. You have Sivir, who's really low range with her ultimate, really wanting to engage and help start fights. Hecarim, who just wants to get in and disrupt whatever he can. Olaf loves that. Like, Olaf thrives in what Radford has drafted. And on top of the Irelia providing a lot of disruption and damage, this is quite a volatile game, I think, coming forward. LeBlanc is going to prove a problem for very, very ill and enigmatic on the Renata because it's up to them really to save very, very ill if they can, and up to very, very ill to get a clutch spell shield. But I mean, I like Americans draft a lot more than I like their game one draft and how I can see it playing out.
Yeah, definitely. I always look at these team comps in terms of how are they going to fight? How are they going to team fight? And
Mm-hmm.
for American, it's very easy. LeBlanc and Leona find someone to pick, and then the whole team just collapses. But we need to see the communication be on point. Last game, I feel like a lot of times it was a bit scattered. They didn't know exactly who to go on. They got collapsed on pretty often. They need to be able to isolate their targets, have good vision control. All of these things need to be on point for them to actually pick off these targets because
Mm-hmm.
there aren't that many squishies other than Sivir, who should never be, in range to be caught out. Silas is going to be a bit healthier. Hecarim and York are going to have a bit of tank stats on them. So I'm really going to think that it's going to be either enigmatic Reverie or very, very ill that is their target. And
Mm-hmm.
they do have the ability to, get on these targets with a Leona, with a LeBlanc running forward. And also, I mean, just popping Ragnarok, like you said, is going to be enough sometimes to get through. Yorick actually is quite the counterpick to Olaf. If he can actually land that little gauge, yeah, he's going to be able to lock Olaf up for quite some time.
Yeah, it's going to be quite the big point. And I think the bigger point is, yeah, I agree that if Olaf gets caged up, it's going to be a big problem. But, the bigger point for me is Unique going to just sit in the side waves and play Yorick the way that we see in solo queue, where he just goes top lane, like past 20 minutes, he goes top lane, gets matched, runs bot, gets matched, runs top. It's back and forth. So I'm interested to see how that's going forward. But last question before we head into a quick break. Off the draft, who you got winning?
I am going to stick with what I've seen so far of these few teams. I'm actually going to go for Radford. I think they're going to be able to execute well enough in this early game to get an advantage and take it into the mid and late game.
All right. Well, I will side on the other side. I think American can build their leads and really execute on them this time around. But we'll get to see how this game will play out in just a few minutes after this quick break. Welcome on back, everyone, to the game as we are loaded into the Rift once again. Radford is running up to the top lane. This time, again, American is not giving much ground. Not, excuse me. Wow, not going to give much away here. An Idiot Maker playing a lot safer to catch out this invade.
See the pings coming down. He seems to be moving. They know he's there now, but they have no CC to actually lock him down. Oh, they do.
Yeah. All right. Well, now they know. Unique started the glob, and Icy started as abs. I know the second one is abscond.
It's abscond, abduct.
Abscond, abduct. So the first one is abscond. Okay. I see. I don't know why I can't remember like the normal word in abduct, but I remember whatever abscond means.
Yeah, I feel I talked about this the other day. I feel like I know the name of every ability. It's not in my brain in like a findable spot. So when I need to pull on it, I'm like, oh, I can find it eventually, but you're right. For some reason, abscond, abduct stuck in my mind. It is typically the starting spell on Silas, whereas Yorick's E is not typically his starting spell. So he will again find himself in a slight disadvantage in lane. But he does pick up the door and shield this time. I'm hoping he has second wind in his runes to just withstand these trades and this poke. Aurelia stacks up her passive so quickly on these early waves, and it just does so much damage. As we see in the bottom lane items coming out, the call for Sivir, she knows what her job is. There's nothing that's going to happen in this lane. Just get these cannon waves pushed in so you can back to base, pick up your items. Hopefully we see a before 10-minute recall out of the bottom lane this time.
Wait, we're supposed to back before plates drop? I didn't know that one.
We're not supposed to sit on 2,500 gold in our pockets and we're supposed to turn them into items? Yeah, I mean, I do play a lot of bottom lane, so I know, you really need to get these waves pushed in so you can get back to base and utilize these advantages you gain. As we're seeing kind of what you would expect to see in the mid lane, Silas getting pushed under his turret. I think that is going to reveal Hecarim on the map with it being that pushed up, so they might even know where the jungler is at the moment.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. I know you mentioned Unique having one, but it's interesting Icy did not opt for the Doran shield. We usually see that a lot alongside that second wind, like you said. But given that it is Silas into a ranged matchup, he's kind of at Moonwolf's mercy here for whenever Moonwolf wants to auto him. Like we can see, Moonwolf just auto Qs, and then if he chooses to, will W forward. But otherwise, Icy just keeps getting poked out and has burnt both of these potions that they had. So interesting couple of itemization choices among all the players. Again, Leon with that long sword refillable is going to try and get the Noon Quiver before very, very ill can. But, I mean, again, in the top lane, this is just, wow. Really well done from Idiot Maker baiting out the W as well. Last Right's not doing a lot of damage just yet without the Sheen, as I'm pretty sure that's like the only Yorick ability I know is that his Q is called Last Rights because it's actually a really cool sounding name, and that's the only reason I remember it. Other than maybe the ult is Maiden of the Mist, but I
believe
am
that's
not
correct.
positive. Okay, cool. I was not like 100% on Maiden of the Mist, but we're there.
Wow, these stuns coming out.
Oh, Eulogy of the Isles. Okay, thank you for Scott looking at that. But
Producer
Idiot
has cut that
Maker
out, but it's gonna be
flashing forward, no flash on Unique, and the Irelia just auto cleans it on up. Argoat found in the bot lane in the 3-on-3, now a 4-on-3 as Icy has come on in. Enigmatic Reverie picks up the Olaf and trying to gift this one to Icy. It is the Kingslayer that does pick up the kill onto Ironic Burb. That is a nice one to feed over to Icy. A lot of extra gold in the mid laner's pocket, who needed that direly with how low the CS count was. No flash used by Leon, just the 90 caliber net. And that is Icy losing their flash in return for not much gained.
Really good composure from Leon, but really good communication out of Radford saying, we see what's happening topside. Olaf's trying to make a play. Everyone move down now. Looks like Icy was already on the move, whereas Moo Wolf was just sitting in the mid lane trying to collect some farm as a huge CS difference has opened up in the middle lane. But that
Mhm.
kill is going to kind of equalize that as much as possible. As we do see the Oblivion Orb first buy. I know it's been very controversial in the community, excuse me, but we have
Yep.
seen more educational videos coming out talking about Silas having third highest health regen in the entire game, him building this, corrupting pot build, the healing he gets on his W. It's not all about, actively applying those grievous wounds and stopping that W from healing. It's about the passive healing he gets from Second Wind and from all of these other passive
Mm.
abilities. As the chains do land.
Uh-oh. Oh, little miss from Ironic Burb, not far enough on the Zenith Blade. I'm just gonna poke Icy on down. I did get to watch finally Chakras put out a video as well last night, and I
Yep.
think the general consensus is
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. It doesn't look good.
Yeah.
The tooltip doesn't ever look good, but we
Yeah.
we promise you there
Oh,
is value.
yeah. Unique now though, found up top lane. Idiot Maker cleans up one. Gonna find Lukey perhaps going forward. No, it's Moonwolf with a flash and the Sigil of Malice taking on down the Hecarim. In the bottom lane now, Ironic Burb just trying to get the bot lane of Radford off the tower. But again, another lead brewing here for the side of American. They're doing well to get themselves forward. And another big thing on these early purchases, Leon has matched the cull that Very, Very Ill has. So while it will be popping up later, it will still be evened out at some point.
Yeah, as you can see, gold is pretty much even across the board except for the top lane at 11k or
Oof.
11k, 1100 gold and about 400 gold in the middle lane. That's going to equate to about a amplifying tome for LeBlanc over
Mm-hmm.
Silas, but in the top lane, this lead is enormous. Once that Blade of the Ruin King comes in, I don't know how York even walks up as Ragnarok gets popped. They really
Yeah.
are trying to pressure this
Oh,
dragon, knowing they still have bot lane priority, as Ironic Burb is certainly going to go down here.
yep. Going down. Lukey cleans that one up with the red buff. That is a freebie, as Ironic Burb had no flash. Tough going for the Leona. But first, Drake, which we didn't see for Radford, is going their way this time around in game one. As Idiot Maker in the top lane is opting into the Blade of the Ruined King. Usually we see a couple of these recurve items coming out on Irelia. I don't know, as Ragnarok actually is popped in the mid lane. Lukey trying to find something, can't find anything. I don't know if he's going to opt for Wit's End this game, as there's not much magic damage on the side of Radford, but usually that is uh, to some extent one just the Irelia items is Wit's End, Blade of the Ruin King, and trying to get as much clean attack speed as you can on the champion. But I also just noticed, apparently, I don't know how I missed it. Unique has opted for Ignite here in the top lane, and it's not doing him any favors. The ult misses from Idiot Maker, but Idiot Maker doesn't know where Unique has gone. He's jumped into the alcove. Now, Idiot Maker has found the Yorick. The maiden will fall in the meantime as she decays away without her owner. That is 3 kills the way of Idiot Maker with a 10 CS lead. Shoving this extra wave into the tower, too, will net an XP advantage that Unique is just not going to get.
Yeah, I mean, really, if you're Radford, you have to look at how this game has gone out so far and said playing around top side has not worked out. We got wiped when we went up there, but playing around bot side has resulted in a dragon, multiple kills, summoner spells wasted. This is really where the emphasis has to be for Radford. You're never going to be able to pick up this Aurelia at this point. Once she gets this next couple of waves, she will be able to complete that Blade of the Ruin King, and at that point, she's going to shred through Hecarim. She's going to shred through Yorick. I do think Yorick can be a bit closer in these fights if he gets Idiot Maker low enough before they start, but he doesn't seem to be able to build up those those ghouls and poke down the Aurelia in any way.
Yeah, and I think we saw it honestly early on, and I laughed at it and I didn't mention it as I'm gonna have to mention it in a second. Ironic Burb trying to fight towards Enigmatic Reverie. Now the Berserk is big. Leon caught yet again. Exhausted is very, very ill. Who pops the on the hunt? Or excuse me. I think it is on
On the
the
hunt.
hunt.
On the hunt.
Yeah, it is on the hunt, as I got confused for a second thinking that was Rengar's, but nope, Leon falls to the on the hunt on from the Sivir. Good auto attacks landing and cleaning up that one in the bot lane. Off the engage from Ironic Bourbon, and this kind of lane kingdom idea that American was going for is not working out at all.
Yeah, I think the Sivir counterpick was a very good idea. Just trying to, get this push. It forces Ironic Bourbon Leon to look for advantages elsewhere in these, engages. As I don't really know if this equates to anything. We'll just ult away,
Yeah.
but
Ooh, the fear actually is what does. And granted, Moonwolf does go down. Icy gets an assist, which is big for them, but they do get the flash out of Icy from Moonwolf. So little advantages here, but there it is. Okay, I was going to mention that because it's a little funny. Uh, I think that's part of the reason why Unique's not able to get any poke down here onto Idiot Maker, because Irelia Q just cuts through all the minions or all the little ghouls as soon as they pop up at this point, and just it's really up to Idiot Maker to fight whenever. And now is the go button, I guess. Unique getting aggressive with the eulogy of the Isles, the Maiden of the Mist, out doing some bonus magic damage, but Unique hit by the blade work E, and that is Unique going down.
if he's
to
ever
another
going to
solo kill.
win these skirmishes, he needs to start dodging those abilities. We need to see the fancy feat we saw last game, dodging those sweet spots, come out now to dodge these blade works. I
Ooh.
think that the lead that is being gained in the bottom lane is starting to fall behind the lead gained in top lane as we see a repeat gank, knowing no flash is down, but again, just distortion comes out, and I really think Hecarim needs to be focusing more on this bottom lane and trying to get the Sivir out onto the map and pushing down these turrets. We do see dragon spawning in 30 seconds here, so they want to be set up for it. As you see, no real sizable lead, even with these kills and assists, no sizable lead coming out for the Sivir. Really wanting to unlock most of the gold lead in this bottom lane is actually on Renata. So we
Yeah.
have to see that being unlocked. Hecarim has gained, himself an advantage. Luki is going to be able to do a lot with that, I'm sure. Going for Umbral Glaive, going for a damage-oriented build. But they need to kind of start focusing on the right places. Silas is starting to find himself on the winning end of these matchups. You build Oblivion Orb on a champion against Silas when you have the aggressive winning matchup, and I don't think in this situation enough was done to win the matchup. It wasn't aggressive enough to try and stop this. Health regen is
Ooh.
off. I go down here.
Argoat is bursted out. Now Moonwolf the target with Luki on the backside, losing those bonus resists when the Hecarim has Umbral Glaive, just gonna allow that much more damage. And I remember yet again, my memory just keeps coming back the more I see it. I like watching Luki's Hecarim because he's the only person that I've seen that, like, I wouldn't say Bill's right. What? Icy solo kills Moonwolf under the tower, not respecting the reach that this Silas has. Big kill from Icy there as well to start getting further or closer and closer in this mid lane. But, we talked a bit about earlier about,
Oh.
optimal builds and ideal builds, suboptimal, whatever. And there's been a lot of discussion when Hecarim got his changes to get the third Q on board, or the third Q stack. There's a lot of discussion that his better items right now are Stride Breaker and Lethality items, as Idiot Maker cleans up another solo kill in the top lane. That's 5-0 for the Irelia at this point. Very one-sided in this lane. But yeah, finishing my point, I mean, Luki is the only one I've seen that goes any lethality items, and I think he prefers usually to go Eclipse if he can afford it.
Yeah, it's an extremely strong item on Hecarim. It's procced almost immediately in any fight and can easily be reprocced without trying to actually focus on doing it. Luki coming up to try and prevent this turret from going down as Unique goes down for the 5th time this game. Staying, only 30 CS down, which is a lot, but it's not as much as it could have been. I think, again, we really need to refocus. Icy somehow has quietly, he's had a couple of, fail flashes, couple of chains, but coming out of it 3-0 and 2, Everfrost completed, getting ready to complete those boots. He has an enormous advantage if he gets out on the map. They're preventing that though through these top lane plays, making Radford a bit scared to pull this York out of lane. He's going for the Hullbreaker again.
Again.
So they're really forcing these lanes to stay put, and that's hurting their team comp.
Yep, definitely going to be punishing them a little bit more than you would think. Like you're saying, Leon off these couple minions, as long as he gets all of them, should have Cull popped, but it's not going to matter. He's going to get extra money off of Enigmatic Reverie dying. Burb picks that kill up with the Ignite, but the teleport from Idiot Maker actually is going to be channeled down to bot lane. Icy found out by Moonwolf and Idiot Maker. The big lead on this Irelia is being used almost as just a bludgeon, but the dragon's not even up to force out in this top lane. Unique, in the meantime, casts Eulogy of the Isles up top. Maiden dropped in the lane, and hopefully that can start to even out some of this tower work in the top side, while Icy is punished, forcing another flash, almost off cooldown at this point, from the Silas. But Lukey, action at this point. We keep going. Lukey finds the LeBlanc under the tower. Will be going down thanks to Argoat as Icy gets away from Idiot Maker for a second. But no, the flash forward from Idiot Maker gets the stun, but has to walk away. Now, CC Immune, Ragnarok popped. Icy goes down to Argoat for 2. Argoat for 3 off of Very, Very Ill as well, playing melee range. The Yorick is doing what they can, going to get 2 towers in the top lane, but the damage is done. The team fight was lost, and 2,000 gold is the lead here for American.
There's so much to talk about, but all of this starts because Very, Very, Very Ill and Enigmatic Reverie just refused to go back to base. Sitting on so much gold, pushed up to the turret, plates are down, and they're sitting there autoing the turret, which allows Ironic Burb to go in with that solar flare, get the pop on Enigmatic Reverie, and just from there it just kind of domino effects into the kill in the mid lane. Icy, not realizing that Idiot Maker is still around and going for that trade, gets punished for it, and then at the end, Argoat with this champion, he proved early last game on the Graves that he's able to get himself these leads, and in that fight, able to stay up, use the Gore Drinker effectively, and keep himself alive for this fight. As I think it gets a bit more difficult now for Radford to win out in some of these fights unless they can get a pick here onto Leon.
Yep, immediate flash over that mid wall. As Very, Very Ill popped the On the Hunt, doesn't find anything for the Sivers Troubles, though. And I do not like this collector buy for Very, Very Ill. Going towards that, Argo's going to be building Death Dance. Idiot Maker is eventually going to be building Death Dance with how AD heavy the team for Radford is. That collector is going to lose a lot of utility later on and a lot of strength. And in turn, you could go Phantom Dancer, which is always going to have a lot of utility in this kite bat comp that you're running. However, Icy's TPing to top lane. That's a big lead lost in this dragon fight, but in the meantime, it doesn't matter. Argoat, no smite, fighting Unique in the bottom lane, giving that kill over to Moonwolf. The dragon instead gifted over to Radford. And that is kind of just American accepting that they have to fight all the time later on and just trying to just work whatever leads they can now and deal with it in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone understood what was going to happen there. If Caitlyn can't get to the objective first, her ability to contest it kind of falls and falls without being able to set up those traps. So they decide, let's just give it, but let's see if we can try and pick off Unique in the side lane. Walks a bit too far up without having his team there to respond. And good TP coming out of Icy to protect that tier 2 turret in the top lane. Otherwise, I mean, Idiot Maker, who knows how far he could have pushed that down. Unique will TP to the bottom lane here to try and keep picking up these waves. He's still only about 30 CS down, but 0, 6, and
God.
0 is not the best looking scoreboard, as the gold difference between these top laners is just enormous. 700 gold bounty on Aurelia. That has to be the target in these team fights. And like you
Yep.
said, Sivir's damage output is going to be severely, decreased by going Collector instead of Phantom Dancers. I mean,
Yeah.
Unique. Dead again.
Same old story from the rest of this game. It seems like Idiot Maker has solo killed Unique, with Lukey trying to help out, cannot find anything towards the Irelia Gore Drinker, and Blade of the Ruin King finish is now Enigmatic Reverie gets the hostile takeover down, but Argoat finishes it off alongside Ironic Burb. Very, very ill, getting away just in time thanks to the On the Hunt and the exhaust. But that should be a Baron picked up here soon enough, with the Caitlyn and the Olaf's damage sitting on top of it. And I mean, this 5,000 gold lead is going to balloon even further with this added 2K or so that Baron will give. We're looking definitely just at a one-sided swamp of a game from American here.
Yeah, the Aurelia pick was definitely something that is paying dividends now. Picking that very dually top laner that can, do so much in the early game, stacking up her passive, dealing so much damage early, and it's paying dividends now as Unique is almost completely out of this game, and the advantage can still be acquired if they can force a 5v5. I think obviously item-wise, Unique isn't going to be as valuable, but if he can just be there as a champion, tanking some of this damage, allowing Sivir to get some autos out, there's maybe another, I don't know, I would say maybe 4 minutes where this collector buy isn't going to penalize her as much. But past that point, once you start seeing the Death's Dance, this guy, we already see Death's Dance on Olaf, so already you're seeing the value diminish so much. But they are looking for a pick here. You see over the wall, looks like Ironic Burb is the target. Walking up trying to find that handshake or just trying to clear out these minion waves. I don't see, unless they push in side lanes, which it looks like Idiot Maker's doing, I don't see how they straight up push down a wave into Sivir's face.
Yeah, it is going to be hard for Very, Very Ill to really scale to that super Sivir point. Leon as well finished a second item. It is a Lord Dominic's, which is very interesting given the only armor items on the entire side of Radford are the
Ult
tank
missed.
boots for Yorick, but ult misses, like you said, from Irelia. Idiot Maker trying to get down onto Lukey, but the bailout saves Lukey's life. Now Moonwolf is the target for Unique, trying to get something back in the bottom lane as well, while the mid lane is getting sieged out by this Leona. Solar Flare stolen away and used, forces the Ragnarok, but that is about it that can be gained here from Radford. That was a chunky ace in the hole there, coming into Enigmatic, who loses about half their health. And otherwise, this is a good lead despite Idiot Maker dying. This is big from Moonwolf. Doesn't find that much damage though. Icy on the drop back, misses the chains. Now Moonwolf forced the flashes. Lukey ghosting forward, knows which one is the real LeBlanc. Going to hit and rampage away, but runs off with the bonus from Devastating Charge. Now Moonwolf with no TP is going to get out, tag in Idiot Maker, who has TP'd on in. Does not have this ultimate yet on Irelia, but it's just about to come up in a handful of seconds. And there's enough strength on the side of American here to stall out this dragon fight, to wait for this big game-changing ultimate in this game. Idiot Maker finished their third item as well. And again, it's a matching hull breaker.
Yep, and it's not going to do much in this team fight, but this is going to be the fight of the game. If somehow Radford can pull off this team fight and pick up this soul, it's going to be so big. They're all sitting in this tri-brush. No vision in here, but Argoat will clear out the vision they do have. They have to look for a flank here, I think they have to get someone to come around. It's probably going to be Unique. Or if they can pick off Moonwolf right here, then maybe that's the play they're looking for.
Ooh.
But no
Lukey with
one's
this
willing to pull the
lethality
trigger.
build. Yeah, Lukey with this lethality build is not that tanky as well. Moonwolf has an extra target because of that. And it looks like Moonwolf is the target, but nothing can be found. The dragon is gifted over to Radford for quite literally nothing. And it is a good win for American. Excuse me, not Radford getting the dragon. It's a good win for American, and they're continuing to just push this lead. Lukey can't even farm his jungle as Idiot Maker takes that wolf, says thank you for the leash. No pun intended, but it is again a ballooning lead, 6,000, almost 7 in the for the side of American.
And once you see those mid turrets going down, you want to push forward the vision line, try
Oh
and
my
get
god.
these jungle camps stolen away as Unique. Yeah, I
Mm.
can only assume he's going down here.
Well, what is it? It's
No,
Yorick
doesn't go
dying in a
for it.
solo lane. Unique
Actually,
does go
doesn't go
down to
for it.
half as Idiot Maker is not gonna finish that kill off. Did invest
Oh my
the
god.
ultimate, but I
3,000
mean,
damage to champions based off of the
like,
Blade of the Ruined King active alone.
like, come on, that's just crazy at that point. That's so much extra damage. That's so much extra damage that Idiot Maker has, and not a lot of damage that Unique has gotten from this Hullbreaker. I think we just saw 16. And also,
Yeah.
I think it's dumb, by the way, that Oblivion stats don't carry over to Morellonomicon. Like, it's not like it's magically you stop cutting healing. It just happens to be a different item. But in the meantime, okay, Enigmatic did not take that much damage from that ace in the hole, which is good to see. But
He must
still,
have shielded some of it.
yeah, definitely did. Because that one we saw a couple minutes ago was beefy.
Yeah. And with Baron spawning in 40 seconds, they are looking to try and set up some of this vision, push them out. Mid lane is pushed in, bot lane is pushed in. They're doing a good job controlling their waves. Yorick trying to make sure he doesn't get
Mhm.
chased down by Moonwolf.
Yeah, the wall goes up, does not end up meaning anything. Lukey has not finished the Mythic yet, finished both the Umbral Glaive and Mermana now into the Manamune as well. But, or no, other way around. Manamune into Mermana. Okay, big duel in the top lane as well. Maiden goes down to Argot, who faced no threat from the Maiden. Maiden's on cooldown now. And once again, Idiot Maker gets to duel with Unique 3 levels up in this bottom lane. A whole item, almost an item and a half on this Yorick with this massive gold lead. And because of this lead that Idiot Maker has, it's almost like American could just really force this Baron. Unique is going down again, trying to get whatever healing they can, but it's just not enough. In the meantime, top lane fight is coming down. Burb is the one who goes down. The LeBlanc from the backside finds Lukey. That's the biggest find that they needed. Leon rooted up from the Everfrost, but a nice blast cone saves the Caitlyn's life. Now pushing forward, thanks to Moonwolf's aggression. Moonwolf is dipping in and out of this fight. Argot pushes forward. Icy found, but the bailout saves Icy for but a moment. Able to kill off Leon. Now very, very ill, doing what damage they can. The Collector finds Argot up to find Moonwolf now. Very, very ill.
God.
Collects two shutdowns
Irelia's
taken
ending the game.
for the Sivir. But it is Irelia finishing things off. Enigmatic has to do what she can, trying to save the tower to 2 cannon minions that are buffed by Hullbreaker, going to go down. Thanks, the bailout saves her for but a moment. Now the Irelia finally goes down. Now is a big shutdown again for the Sivir.
Keeping the
3
Baron.
in a row for this Sivir. Very, very ill. And going forward, this could be a Baron look here for Radford.
It's only ironic Burb up on the map right now. Leon just respawned and is running as fast as possible from base. Looky is here now. I mean, that was such an incredibly well played fight by Very, Very Ill. American University was just trying to stop the recalls, trying to make sure that they couldn't get back to stop Idiot Maker as the Baron is going to get taken, but oh, it's Moonwolf that TP's into the pit. I thought it was going to be Idiot Maker. That would have been very scary.
Yeah, that was definitely a scary TP if it's Idiot Maker, and not to say it's not scary that it's LeBlanc, but it's kind of one of those like, oh god, someone's TPing. Oh, it's just LeBlanc.
And
Uh,
and there's
where
only
it's not the turbo fed 4.5 item Irelia. It's just the 2.5 item LeBlanc who can still one shot you, but it isn't that scary.
there are only
Ooh.
6 seconds onto this dragon. They're trying to get there to contest, but I don't think they're going to get there in time. I think they should just give this up and say, we have the Baron buff. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's good enough for us
That is
this time.
enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you do hit the handshake and flash. That's flash out of
Hey.
Moonwolf.
Yeah, Moonwolf does force the flash, and this dragon isn't being hit at all by Leon. If anything, it's being barely tickled at this point. By the way, very, very ill went back with 3 items and now has a 4th. That is a Lord Doms on the board, and Lukey looking for the steal does not get it, will go down instantly. The Berserk finds 4 with the hostile takeover. Now, very, very ill. The target of Moonwolf does not find that much, just half health from the Sivir, but the dragon is secured. 2 Ocean Drakes on the side of American, and the Maiden of the Mist doing what she can, just pulling up top lane, getting little ghoulies, doing her thing, kind of just existing on her own.
Gonna be Leon
There she
backing to deal
goes.
with that. Yeah, is going to do some damage to this turret, but with the Baroned up minions, I mean that's a huge time saver for Radford. It's going to protect them from getting or from getting front doored, I should say. But
Mhm.
found edge, she's dead.
Yep,
Yeah,
you have walked into the LeBlanc Irelia trap. You are dead. That is the price you pay. Enigmatic Reverie, no fault of their own, too, but that is just how the leads swing sometimes. Granted, that was the Irelia ult used. Chain misses from Icy as Lukey's trying to help out. Pops the Ghost and gets the charge off onto Moonwolf. Cancels out the first distortion. Second comes out as well, but Lukey's doing so much damage with this lethality Manamune build. Trying to find... No! He gets popped right back by Moonwolf. No healing thanks to Ironic Burb's Ignite, which catches the kill. Now Idiot Maker has TP'd in. Now you're saying, oh no, it's the Irelia. Very, very ill. Tries to exhaust him and gets the Collector in the meantime, thanks to the exhaust. Moonwolf not able to find the kill back onto very, very ill. The Sivir is doing what she can to keep Radford in this game as best as possible, and it's working just enough.
going for the Guardian Angel last item. I don't know why you would pick up the chain vest and not the
Not
stopwatch.
You have the money for stopwatch.
But I guess maybe figuring that. He's gonna pick up the kill onto Moonwolf. Icy finding that pick another. At this point in the game, it's a 50-second death timer that relieves so much pressure as they just try and wait down the objective timer for Dragon to spawn again, so they can fight for this Dragon Soul. That's going to mean so much in these team fights. It's gonna be so hard to kill Hecarim once he gets Ocean Soul. Same for Icy when he gets that Ocean Soul. They just have to be patient and wait and keep trying to get these picks. But I mean, really playing right into their hands is American University, looking for these little skirmishes that really are meaningless instead of just focusing on pushing in their waves and putting pressure on the map.
I think this is what we saw excel for Radford in game 1 as well. The team fought pretty fantastically almost. They split up well. They saved their carries very well, as much as was needed, as much as they could. And it worked out fantastically in game 1. It's working well enough here in game 2. Very, very ill as well. Refunded that chain vest and has opted into a Vamp Scepter. So could be seen the Bloodthirster, could be seen Blade of the Ruin King. Not sure which Vamp Scepter item that's going into, but still, it is not a Guardian Angel, which could be a big saving grace in this game. Figure Bailout is just enough to, enough of a GA to get in this game, but still,
Looking
I'm
for a
yeah.
100% crit chances. The teleport is going to come in to get back to that top lane turret as quickly as possible. And looking across the aisle, this Caitlyn build is not going to be very powerful with her going for the Mortal Reminder. Very little stats given by that item. And the Grievous Wound's not very important when you already have 3 champions applying Grievous Wounds. As Unique is almost certainly going to go down again. TP coming out by Icy trying to save him as he dodges the blade work.
Yeah, does have the Solar Flare down. The Everfrost down as well. Idiot Maker's healing so much from this Gore Drinker, but it's not enough. Unique cleans up that kill. No push given here as well. And with these massive death timers, 60 seconds on Idiot Maker, that is Dragon going to be coming up in a 4v5 where Idiot Maker, I don't think, has teleport. Maybe it comes up just in time. It actually looks like it will come up just in time. But still, I mean, that's a big kill to find because that forces American to give Dragon control and ward control over to Radford here.
They have to take it. They have to be aggressive and go and get these wards down. They're being very hesitant right now. It's a 4v5 on the map. You see LeBlanc in topside. You know it's only a 3v4 down here. You have to get into this river and get these wards down. It looks like they're finally going to be doing it. But these ghouls are doing so much work. I forget what that item is. Cyrilda's doing so much work slowing on these ghoul auto attacks. This dragon's going to be picked up so quickly.
Oh my
but
God.
Everyone's here. TP's coming in from Idiot Maker now.
Ocean Soul is grabbed up by Lukey, who immediately gets bailed out in the meantime, but has to go back in. Now, very, very ill, flashing forward, trying to find Moonwolf, gets found by the ace in the hole. Moonwolf looking ahead, knows where the Sivir is, but Leon getting chunked out by Yorick. It is very, very ill, going huge as well. 5 for 1. Lukey's the only one to fall, and again, Radford from behind finds a winning team fight and does huge work. Unique coming up big again.
That is going to be
game.
Yeah. Flash bailout to save Unique's life. Icy going over to the mid lane to protect very, very ill. The communication is so impressive here, and the composure so far behind early game. This Aurelia, such a menace, hasn't even found a kill in the past 20 minutes, and it's going to be the win for Radford.
Wow. Quite literally, outside of laning phase, Idiot Maker didn't do that much. Wasn't able to find any kills. And from 6K behind, almost 7 at one point, Radford is going to come back with the 2-0, win out this series so easily, or not very easily actually, but with their comeback, their team fighting very well. They piggybacked on very, very ill this game. They piggybacked on Icy last game, and they were able to win out. Very well done in the end.
I mean, the communications have to have been so clean to keep their composure, stay calm. You have 2 TPs coming in. As soon as that fight starts, Hecarim goes so low, gets the bailout, but doesn't get back into the fight in time to deal that damage. So immediately it's a 4v5. And Enigmatic Reverie's also out of the fight. Has to flash back in to save Yorick, who Unique actually redeems himself again in this game, keeping Idiot Maker out of that fight, whereas on the other side, very, very ill and Icy, the 2 carries of this team over these 2 games, completely washed the rest of the fight, and just incredible team play by Radford. I think so much credit has to go their way, but also some credit to American, as they played well in the early game. They seem to have known what they wanted to do, just not able to execute on it moving into the later stages of the game.
Yeah, they definitely did look like they knew what they were doing, just didn't end up executing on it. Like you said, not to just copy what you were saying, but that is easily put. But hello, we do have Icy on in already for the interview from the victorious Radford side. So first of all, man, congrats on the win.
Yeah, thank you.
How are you guys feeling after that game, by the way?
Yeah, we were pumped. Like, I think in our last team fight, we were just like screaming the whole time, like after we won it. So
that was impressive. I do want to, before we get too far away from it, that first game is a little far away. I want to ask you, there was a team fight in that first game where Aatrox found his way onto you on the Corki, and you were just ignoring him, landing rocket after rocket onto the 3 carries of the team. What were you thinking to try and, prevent yourself from focusing on that Aatrox?
Well, he didn't like do any damage. So like throughout the game, we knew that he was zoning out not Yorick, our top laner early in the game. But like he was like 9 CS, and we were still catching up in CS. So when I saw him come into the fight, he basically just has Gore Drinker, and I have like 3 items. So I Yeah, you're right. I just ignored him, and then I had that nice W over the wall, and our jungler was calming to just go for these three. So he was like kind of useless at that point because he kind of messed up the early game, I'd say. And then we still had our top laner just pushing. So yeah, that's just pretty much just going through my head. Like I honestly didn't even notice him at first, and then I kind of saw him, and I just W'd over, and I was like, all right, sweet.
Yeah, coming out of these two games as well. The game 2 more so than game 1, you guys were behind in the early game going into mid game. How did that affect, did that really even affect how you guys communicated, what plays you were going for, or did you just already have this game plan of what you wanted to do?
I think after they took Baron, like that sneaky Baron, I was, because I'm mostly like calming, I was kind of just like lost at one point. I was like, I don't know what to do. But their bot lane got really, really behind, and our Sivir was farming. So we kind of just turned our focal point to just go to Sivir. We were like, we have to go Sivir carry. We have to stop trying to go for like these small skirmishes because we're a 5v5 team comp and they have like the LeBlanc. And the LeBlanc overstayed a lot. Like she was low health. I was able to pick her off like twice. And then like slowly but surely our Yorick was slowly like becoming a unit. And then that play Irelia top where I TP'd, like once we caught them there, we're like, all right, sweet. Like we were starting to control the pace again like we did in game 1.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you about that. Who in those fights are making that call saying, we know they're trying to push bottom side, but Irelia is overextended top. We need to take down this raid boss. Who's making those calls in the team fight?
It's mostly me. We have like a here and there from like most like our jungler and sometimes our top laner about like positioning or like should I go this way, but for the most part I am doing like probably about 95% of the calming. So I mean like, and like I said, I was lost at one point, so it was really hard for me to like try to make a call because like my team like a big credit to my team, like they like we're either all in or like we're all we lose, like we're all in and we win or we lose, and that's a really good strategy when it works. So I was scared sometimes that like the calls I'd make would be pretty bad, but like I said, like I have faith in my teammates, and Yorick, which is Sean, like he really came through with just trying. Like I mean, like it was brutal in the beginning, but he was still farming, he was still trying to stack items, and they were ignoring that for a long part of the game. So yeah, it helps a lot.
Yeah, I mean, less on I guess it is still a serious question, but still, how do you like? I know it's not you personally, but how do you guys deal with that? You look up and you have to see your teammate getting constantly ganked, constantly pressured out of lane. How do you guys deal with that in comms and keeping nerves cool?
Brutal. Like a lot of this, like throughout the MAEC, a lot of the top laners are the stronger laners, I'd say, in the teams. So Sean has a super big challenge, but like he does well. Like I think he really tries. Like sometimes he makes these minor mistakes, but I really think like when we tell him to do something and like he knows his objective in the game, he pulls through. Like he pulled through game 1 and he pulled through game 2 immediately. I mean, most CS in game 2, he was really trying to do 100% of what he could. Even like he was like 07 at one point. And like at that point, like I'm all F4ing, like I'm FFing or something like that, my solo queue games, but not him. Like the mental is strong, and I try to keep the mental strong. We all do. And we got like a little picks here and there, and that kind of helps our morale. We definitely try to keep morale like on top, no matter what.
Yeah, and I do want to give. I know you did so incredibly this fight, but your ability to keep very, very ill alive in that last team fight and make sure Sivir's putting down as much damage as possible. I mean, the coordination in your team fighting, it really shows that the comms are on point.
Yeah, we definitely, that is a big priority for us. Like I said about, I think I tabbed at one point and I saw Caitlyn with like 2.5 items and I saw our Sivir with 4, and I literally like screamed at everyone. I was like, all right guys, we're playing only around Sivir. It's only Sivir at this point. It's Sivir or we lose, and that's what we did. And I really tried to like, I mean, I'm a Silas, so it's kind of hard to peel, but I did try my best to peel. And we knew the LeBlanc was going to do that little cheeky play over the wall during that fight. So we were prepping like at that same time, but big shout out to Spencer ADC for just like being that carry, because that's what we needed to win that game.
So last question I've got for you if you've got any shout outs to give out and anything you want to say to any fans.
Yeah, shout out to my team, and it's just better top wins, 100% better top wins. Maybe they need to find a new top laner or something, but my top laner is locked and loaded, so we're set with that. But yeah, no,
Well-
but big shout out to my team as well. I think we played super well, and like the resilience in game 2 was good. But seriously, better top wins. Like that's the main thing.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Icy, from the victorious Radford team. Again, congrats on your victory and good luck going forward the rest of the season.
Thanks, guys.
Not a problem. So, with that being said, Jack, do you have any closing remarks?
I mean, just an incredible series. Radford's composure, their ability to stay calm in these fights, just incredible. And I could have asked him questions all day, but like the flank in that first game that really set them up to win on that Corki, just knowing that he's doing most of the shot calling, I'm extremely impressed by the level of competition in this league.
Yeah, definitely did because, just from a rank perspective, right? You look at that and you're like, oh, Americans got this in the bag. But obviously when it comes down to it, it didn't play out that way. Radford's team fighting massively excelled today, and American had good looks, but it just wasn't enough in the end. So that being said, that'll do it for us on the MAEC stream, sponsored by Events DC and Game Gym. For myself, for Jack Kelly, and for Scott Mink on the back end doing all the observing, all the production, I'd like to thank you guys for watching and hope you have a good night.